Welcome back to the 2 Pointers Podcast. I'm Trevor Everett, and I am as excited as you think I look if you're watching this on YouTube. That's my first plug to tell you to come over and watch it on YouTube for all the fun elements with the scores and getting to see these guys' reactions to different questions. I'm Trevor Everett. Thank you for tuning in today. Trivia Showdown's back, I believe, if I'm counting it right, episode 9, I hope. This is probably one of the last ones. Looking forward to next week. We'll do a college basketball one more time. I'll keep the guest a secret, let you find out live next Wednesday. But very excited to be talking to people who are very familiar with this format or this place, and we're very excited to talk to Grayson Hill and Josh Gupton. Last time I had both these guys on together was probably Trivia Showdown's finale Trivia's finale last year or something like that. It was a long time ago. Independently, Grayson, we did the NBA Finals shows, of course, and Josh, I believe we had you on for some Charlotte Hornets conversation around the draft, if I'm correct. That was all off the top of my head, so that's my way of talking to you, introducing you, Josh. How are you?
Good.
Did I get that right?
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Go with the typical radio intro. Love that.
Yeah, I'm going to skip over last time. I'm not currently taking any questions about the Charlotte Hornets. Life just generally. So I'm just we're not accepting questions right now, but get back to me closer to the season when we open up that press side.
Very excited. The three of us are going to try to find our way down to Charlotte for a game potentially, and then we saw that the preseason tickets for the 200 levels for the Charlotte Hornets in Oklahoma City, let me reiterate, preseason was $110. You can get
what's
$20
with that?
off. I don't know, but you can get $20 off.
Effect or something.
I love the Hornets as much as anybody, but like regular season games against like the Pistons are like $7. So I don't know what this $100 thing is.
It's the Trey Mann effect. With that being said, you can get $20 off that purchase if you'd like. Go 2 Pointers on SeatGeek.com or in the app. Sorry, I had to throw a plug between your introductions. Grayson, how are you?
I'm good. 2-time host, now 2-time contestant, and I'm going to go ahead and say Trevor probably has it out for me because he lost both times I hosted. So, anything that comes to me, I deserve it, but I'm looking forward to it. It's always nice to be on with Trevor and, of course, Josh, like the good old days, the first 2 times we did this. So I'm excited. Low expectations. I set the bar pretty low for the entire show last year, so hoping to creep over that low bar and build some momentum.
Yeah, there is no vendettas here. I wanted to continue the formality of this show being the 3 things for those that are new here. We want you to learn something. We want you to have fun, whether you're competing or watching this on YouTube or Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And we also want it to be difficult. So in the aim and goal of that last week with Michael Davis and Carson Williams going into the finale, if you haven't watched that, spoiler, sorry, it was 1-2 before the finale where they rattled off some really good points. So check that out below. The playlist will be down there. A couple of rules for those that are new and for you guys just to make sure we're on the same page. It's a 10-question format. There's a couple of free answer in there. I say a couple. There's actually 8 of them. There are 2 multiple choice, and there's some fun formats to make free answer a little less boring or a little less, wow, there's no way I'm getting this question right. So in the fairness of the fact that there is a Charlotte Hornets fan and Oklahoma City Thunder fan here on the show, there obviously is going to be some elements there. And then the finale, of course, 60 seconds. You will not be penalized for any wrong answers, and I'll go over this at the end again as well. But it is there for you to be able to put as many possible answers. You are required to put an answer on every question because it is funnier. We've had some hysterical answers be put down. I believe I've quoted this before, but in the Rockets, when 2 guys wrote the exact same number, out of every number that could ever exist, they wrote the exact same number down, which is, I still am trying to fathom what happened there. So any questions about the rules, fellas? Are we good to go?
Did I get it? Is that right?
Kentucky.
Oh, my God.
That got brought up last time I talked to Alex, too. That's really funny. It's, if I'll find the photo, if I can, it'll be on the screen on
Brush
YouTube.
up on my national champions real quick.
NBA themed, of course. If I didn't say that, it'd also be in the title. But are we good to get started? We happy?
You're going to have to give me a minute. I'm having to rewrite my paper because I wrote
it. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start question number 1. Get reading here. And then for those that are watching on YouTube, you'll see the answers when they are ready to give them. There's no time format really, but I'm going to call on them eventually depending on the length or the severity of the question here. All right, so question number 1. Very excited to get started here. This is the closest to the number. I don't think we've ever started out with one of these, so this is fun. We'll give you an opportunity. Somebody's getting a point here. So for those that don't know, close to the number without going over gets the point. If you both go over, of course, it is Price is Right. Close to the number gets the point. Price is Right style. If you go over, somebody's getting a point. So the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Charlotte Hornets have had their fair share of tanking, losing, sucking, whatever analogy, adjective, whatever words you'd like to put in there, and their histories, we're going to call it, dating back to the beginning of the franchises as we know them currently. So, Josh, that's a little wink for you there. How many losses combined do the Thunder and the Hornets have dating back to as we currently know the franchise today? Go ahead. Clarifying question. There's not many of those.
I
Go ahead.
currently know them today. You mean
I was hoping you would interpret that yourself.
Current name.
Under the exact current, as you've always said that you only remember the Charlotte franchise since X year, and I'll just let you insert year that.
Okay, well that's different than.
Yeah, so franchise as we currently know them. In
I'm going to divide this. I'm going to make this very clear. Since they changed the name back to Hornets, or since they were the Bobcats in 2004.
We're gonna go with the latter. We're gonna go with the latter,
Okay.
and then to just be fair,
change the name to Thunder or all Supersonic history.
just the name is Thunder. I thought the wording was going to be interpretive enough, but I guess
No, it
not.
wasn't.
I thought it might have been.
We're going to make you word, Trevor.
I'm trying to throw you off on question number one. So the point being is, since 2004 for the Charlotte Hornets and since 2008 for the Oklahoma City Thunder, I should have just put that in the freaking question. But how many losses combined do the franchises have? And I will have the numbers independently as well as the combined total. So. And I will try to fill time. You guys are not unfamiliar with how this show works. So don't worry about me. Don't listen to me. Focus on your answers. I want to get, we want scores here, but we also, want to have some fun and want to make it difficult. So as I mentioned jokingly between the two introductions, there is a SeatGeek promotion that is currently running on the bottom of the screen, as it will always, because, of course, this is baseball season where you can go to a freaking baseball game for $22 and you can go for $2 because you can get $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek.com or in the app. But also think about all the concerts and things like that you guys have access to right now with the summertime. So definitely enjoy that code there. Code 2 pointers at the bottom. So this one's not hard, and I don't want to sit here and ask for math and stuff like that. Anybody want to talk out their answer without giving anything away? If not, we'll start getting answers shortly. Silence is golden. Okay. All right. So
doing math.
We're not talking about, we're not talking all of Supersonic's history here. So, this is not like you're adding in an extra 45 years.
All right, I have an answer.
Okay. Lock it in.
Yeah, me too.
Good. All right, we're going to
I'll
start.
explain my thought afterwards.
On my screen, it's me, Grayson, and then Josh. So we're going to just go left to right and alternate. I'm definitely going to forget. The other thing I'll tell you guys that has changed is please keep your score on your own, on your board, paper, whatever, because as you can tell, I'm holding a microphone, and I can't do the score as I go if I'm holding a microphone. So, Grayson, what is the answer for question number one?
I'm going to go very broad, basic math. I'm going to guess 1,200.
Okay. The Price is Right style. This is good. Josh?
1393.
Wow. Okay, so the Oklahoma City Thunder since 2008-09, when they became the Oklahoma City Thunder from the Seattle Supersonics, they have 526 losses, which, all things considered in this research, I was pretty happy with that number. I was very surprised. I knew they had some good years, obviously. Maybe the last couple of years just clouded that. The Charlotte franchise, as we know them from the Bobcats in 2004 on to today's current team, has 904 losses, so close to double.
So close on that one.
Josh is going to get the point.
949 losses.
Yeah, you were really close.
500.
So you both were close within the reason, but Josh is going to get the point with 1,430 points or losses.
I know how much my team loses. No one knows that better than me.
We're going to find out if that's reciprocating anytime soon with some of these picks. But obviously, you two know plenty about draft picks, especially Grayson. But so we're not going to do some updates that often.
Average of 48 losses a year over the last.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I did 50 times 12 for them. So
So I was off by 2 games a year.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good. That's good. This is why we want to talk this out. So. Yeah,
I'm happy we're both
is good.
Close with our respective franchises.
This is why we talk this stuff out, because for those of you listening on Apple and Spotify, you got to hear the context of where these guys are coming from. So this is good stuff. We'll get a score update like halfway through for the sake of throwing it on the screen every 30 frames on editing. So thank you for not doing that all the time. Question number 2. Bob McAdoo and blank are the only 2 players in NBA history to be traded 4 or more times after winning an MVP in their career. Bob McAdoo and blank are the only 2 players in NBA history to be traded 4 or more times after winning an MVP in their career. I have referenced this before on a radio show, and I slipped up because I was actually going to do it on Michael Davis's episode on his radio show, and I'm glad I didn't say this question to him. So obviously if Michael Davis is watching this, he's kicking and screaming because he would have gotten a free point here last week on their pod, or on their episode. Bob McAdoo and blank are the only 2 players in NBA history to be traded 4 or more times after winning an MVP award in their career. So, thought processes here, right? We're talking MVPs. There's 70 some odd seasons, 78 seasons in the NBA. So you've got, technically 77 answer choices, but, doesn't exactly help you if I say that. So I'm thinking out loud here, just trying to kill some time. But Bob McAdoo and blank are the only players in NBA history to be traded 4 or more times after winning an MVP award in their career. And I will have...
I try to wonder in your thought process whether you made Bob McAdoo the more obscure answer or not.
Right,
Bob McAdoo was the more obscure player.
All these names get match up.
But I feel like the
2 have known me.
Be that obscure. But
You 2 have known me long enough that, and I've also done this show long enough now and be thought processing some of these things that I like where you're thinking. I like that you're, don't overthink things sometimes. Don't get me wrong. You might put yourself in a bad hole there, but, I make the questions. I make the rules is how I've always looked at this for this version of Trivia Showdown. So are we doing math in the air? Is that what we're doing here? I'm just trying to
fine. I got it. I know now.
He said, I got it. I know.
I was wrong.
To make sure that the transactions of this player is up on Basketball Reference. Grayson, do you have an answer confirmed as well?
I do, yeah.
That sounded very hesitant, but obviously Josh is first, so we're both locked in with the answer we've gotten written down. Josh, who joined Bob McAdoo as the only player to be traded 4 or more times in NBA history after winning an MVP?
First, I thought it was Derrick Rose, and so I hope that's not the right answer because that's what I wrote down originally. But then I counted, and I think I counted 4 Russell trades, so Russell Westbrook.
D'Angelo Russell. Got it. Okay. Grayson? No, I'm just kidding. You heard Russell. I was just messing with you. Grayson?
Russell Westbrook.
Wow. Also. So you both got this correct. Yeah, it is Russell Westbrook. I mean, obviously, we're not going to, this isn't an NBA history podcast where we're going to go through the length and depth of why that happened the way it did. But, yeah, he was traded. Let's go ahead and make sure the transactions report here is correct. Drafted by the Seattle Supersonics in 2008, signed a multi-year contract in 2012 with the Thunder, again in 2016, and then 2017 as an extension, and then begins the cycle of this question. 2019 was traded to the Houston Rockets for Chris Paul. 2020 was traded by the Rockets to the Wizards for John Wall. Some interesting things working there. August of 2021 was part of a 5-team trade by the Wizards that sent him to the Los Angeles Lakers, making sure I had that right. And then he was sent as a 3-team trade from the Lakers to the Jazz, and then, of course, was waived by the Jazz this year and signed a multi-year contract with the Los Angeles Clippers. And just to be safe, for some reason, did Derrick Rose get traded how many times? Let's just make sure, because that's actually a really good thought, Josh.
I don't know how many times it was traded.
I started with Harden,
so for a lot of teams.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let me find out, because let's just be safe, because I'd rather just not be the guy that gets
lunch after.
He did. I don't want to get fact-checked.
Buyouts mixed in.
Yeah. I don't want to get fact check in the comments is my problem. So 2008 was drafted by the fair. Drafted in 2008 by the Chicago Bulls, so let's count them out loud. Traded by the Bulls in 2016. Wow, he was there for so long. 2016 to the New York Knicks. So that's one. He did sign a contract as a Cavalier, so he didn't get traded to the Cavs, okay? But we're not done yet. There is a couple of things here. He was then a 3-team traded by the Cavs to the Utah Jazz, interestingly enough. So that's number 2. He was waived by the Jazz again. MVP point guards getting waived by the Utah Jazz. This is an interesting caveat here that we've fumbled onto. And then signed a contract in 2018 with the Timberwolves. Free agent as Timberwolf. I guess he mid-seasoned there. Free agent with the Pistons, traded from Pistons to the Knicks. Oh, okay, so yeah, 3 times, and he signed his contract since then. So with the Grizzlies, so very close. That's good points. If he gets traded one more time, this question is technically invalid, but who cares? All right, so congratulations there on both of you getting a point. We're going to move on to question number 3. Question 3, who is the only player in NBA history with 500 points, 250 rebounds, and 150 assists in a single playoff run? In a single playoff run, who is the only player in NBA history with 500 points, 250 rebounds, and 150 assists? No multiple choice, unfortunately. I will tell you if it is before the question begins. So, only player in NBA history with 500 points, 250 rebounds, and 150 assists in a single playoff run. Trying to figure out how to fill time without giving you anything that may help you. That's currently my struggle. I try to do it on the fly.
I'm blinking kind of out of the gate on this one.
This is good.
I'm probably going to go way too recently. I don't like this.
I have so many possible answers.
I feel like 2 out of 3 I could get easily if they filled 2 out of 3 of those.
Like, I don't.
Only player in NBA history with 500 points, 250 rebounds, and 150 assists. And for the sake of time, I am going to start looking for an answer very shortly. Because this is one of the easiest questions on this list, in my opinion. Granted, that's my opinion. So.
Well, now I'm circling mine. Yeah, okay, all right.
There was a hint. I don't give out hints, but there was your hint. I don't know. That shouldn't be a hint. So I believe on the odd questions, we're back to Grayson. So, Grayson?
Okay. I have your king himself, Nikola Jokic.
Okay. Josh?
I also wrote Nikola Jokic.
So what was your thought process before I said something? Either of you?
Nothing.
I was thinking LeBron James most of the time before you said something.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think I remember the stat going out about Jokic being like the first to
There's so many superlatives statistically and obviously just everything about this playoff run fresh off of it. And then that little tiny hint at the end, I was like, okay. I had Durant, LeBron, and Jokic written down. And
I was thinking of the same players.
Yeah.
That is where I was leaning towards with the vein of easy. And here's what I'll tell you. I did a NBA Finals recap podcast 5 times with one of the 2 of you, and I intentionally did not bring this up when this stat was produced about 4 minutes after Game 5. Nikola Jokic is the correct answer. Again, one of those cherry-picked 500, 250, 150 kind of stats, but then you look at the grand scheme of who actually would have been close. Kareem would have been up there. Oscar would have been up there, and that's pretty like there's a couple where it's just like, wow, that is kind of nuts that he's just basically in his own league right now with that. So question number 3, Nikola Jokic is the correct answer. We're going to keep rolling. Question number 4, because we got to definitely leave some time for the finale. Multiple choice. So we are obviously looks like we still have one more of those, which is good. So this is number 1 of multiple choice. Question 4, what year did the Washington, D.C.-based NBA team make the Eastern Conference Finals last? Is it A, 2004, 2005, 04-05, B, 74-75, C, 79-80, or D, 14-15? And the way I've done this recently and in the past, I think too, but you don't have to give me the letter or the number, but you can whatever you can get out, like because I'm going to read. Yeah, as long as the answer is right, I'm not going to freak out about it being you wrote B but didn't write the year, or vice versa. So I'll read them again. What year did the Washington, D.C.-based NBA franchise make the Eastern Conference Finals last? 2004-05, 74-75, 79-80, 14-15. We're talking, a handful of eras here, right? With some very significant people that may or may not have played for the Washington franchise. So you both look like you're pretty locked in. I don't know. I just realized that. I think you both have answer locked in. Are we feeling that? Josh, looks like you're pretty set.
I mean,
okay.
I've got my educated guess.
Educated guess. Grayson, you locked in?
Yeah.
I like the ones where I don't have to fill time. Thank God. Josh, what is your answer for question number 4?
C, 79-80.
Okay.
I don't think I remember the Wall-Beal Wizards ever making the finals. So.
Okay.
Same decade, but even earlier, 74-75.
Okay. What year did the Washington, D.C.-based NBA team make the Eastern Conference Finals? You're correct that the Bradley Beal and John Wall-led Wizards did not make it, and the key word in there that kind of gave you a hint was Washington, D.C.-based franchise, of course. It is the Washington Bullets, and the correct answer is C, 1979-80. They basically were a dominant franchise from basically pre-1980 and haven't been back since, as we know from this question. They were, and just to read a couple of the answer choices, 2004-05, they lost in the East Semis. 74-75, they lost in the NBA Finals. 2014-15, they lost in the East Semis. And then in 1979-80, of course, for the theme of this question, the Bullets lost in the NBA Finals to the Seattle Supersonics, 4-1. Grayson, do you claim that title?
No.
Okay. I like the honesty. I like the, no, well, the reason I bring that up.
Accent on the back of the jerseys, but no.
I like that. The reason I bring that up is the state ranking series is officially done and out, all 5 parts, and people are going to be reading the top list and wonder where a few championships might have disappeared to, because a lot of people didn't read the first paragraph of every single piece that came out. But Minnesota had a handful of Lakers championships that people might be a little curious about, so I do like to wonder if you would have counted that as a, Washington gets the credit for it, but do you count it? So, all right. Great job there, guys. I know we're getting close on a score update here shortly. I know Josh has got a few points on the board. Same with Grayson. So we'll get to question number 5. Who's the only guard in NBA history in the top 10 in career true shooting percentage? Who is the only guard in NBA history in the top 10 in career true shooting percentage?
Wow.
I'd like talk out loud. What are we wowing about? The fact there's one?
No, because that makes sense from the perspective that guards will shoot volume, they will shoot more difficult shots. But true shooting, counts for that. But it still usually goes towards the big guys that don't miss any.
Yeah, when I found this statistic, I looked at it 3 times, and I couldn't figure out a question. And then the only guard on the list staring me in the face back was the obvious choice here. So I said, well, I'm sure I could have come up with one with the top 4, which we're going to get to. I'm going to read all 10. You're going to be as mind-blown as I was in this process of research. But the guard, obviously, I think would have been more of a fun question. So that's why we're here thinking the way we are. So, again, I'm very excited.
The answer from number 2. I can go ahead and say that.
love the thought process. I don't care how you talk it out loud, but I love that.
I don't know who it is, but I know who it's not. So
I like that. I don't know who it is either. So we're good. We're getting thought provoking here. I know the first few seem.
I'm trying to remember the name of someone it's someone like I'm just forgetting I'm blanking on their name. They're like a major NBA player in history. It's an embarrassing to forget the person's name.
That's totally fair. That's the point of the show, is true embarrassment. No, no. All jokes aside, this is
okay. Got it. Never mind.
All right. Well, all it took was me explaining.
I don't know if that's the answer. I spent a lot of time trying to remember the guy's name.
All right. Is that a lock here for both?
No.
Yes.
I'm gonna need a couple more seconds.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you. I'm looking at the clock. I'm looking at the clock, and I'm gonna give you 20 more seconds.
Okay.
I'm gonna Trey Man shout out in here somehow.
Keyword is career, because I think he's only had a very short one, if I'm looking at my watch correctly. So,
large cup of coffee.
I wrote something down. So
Siri said she didn't get that. So here we go. Question number 5 would be an odd question, which I'm keeping track of very well so far. Grayson, I believe that's right.
I saw a tweet about a run in his career that featured really high true shooting, but Dwayne Wade.
Okay. Josh?
I went a very different direction, I wrote John Stockton.
Oh.
That's the direction I went.
So for the sake of the grand reveal, we're going to read the list from 10 to 1, and we'll get to the guard when we get there. 10th is Clint Capella with 62.5%.
All right, this is going to be like Lou Williams. This is ridiculous.
This is a stupid list.
It kind of
cut off, or you can't be traded for a first round pick.
Kind of.
That's just the next guy, but
kind of. Number
John
9.
Collins 9. Yeah.
Number 9 is John Collins. Number 9 is actually John Collins.
Jesus Christ!
How did you get that right? Was that a guess? Was that just a joke?
Next, just absolute aggressively average guard I can think of.
Utah Jazz forward.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Okay, that
Does
was
Mike
really
call
funny.
me the answer to this? I'm gonna leave.
The fact that you just got John Collins. Thank you for the clickbait.
The
Eighth
other
is
potential
Tyson.
answer I would have thrown out would have been Steve Kerr, but I didn't put that out there. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Eighth is Tyson Chandler with 62.6. He was tied with John Collins for eighth and ninth, so just eighth, ninth there. Tyson Chandler was I guess a bucket in his career, if you want to call him that. The correct answer that I'm not going to be awarding any points for is Steph Curry. Steph Curry is seventh in NBA history in career true shooting percentage as the only guard with 62.7%. Josh is like, I just got to shrug it off.
Yeah, sure.
John Stockton, I think, is a very good shout, though. I think John Stockton was probably like a really.
I was concerned that was going to be right.
Dark
as soon as I heard
yeah.
it. Yeah.
And who did you put in, Grayson? You put
Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade, in which he obviously didn't shoot a lot of threes, so that helped his percentage there. I'm gonna read the rest of the list. Sixth is Cedric Maxwell. Fun fact: he is a Finals MVP, as contrary to most players in NBA history do not. For the Celtics in the 80s, Nikola Jokic is fifth, 63.2, 62.9 for Cedric Maxwell. Montrezl Harrell is fourth with 64.2%. Third is Artis Gilmore, and I did not write his number down. Oops, sorry about that. Second is DeAndre Jordan with 64.5.
I mean, this is
number one, my boy Rudy.
It is Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
67.
Are you kidding?
It's Rudy Gobert.
Is it
the highest
against in the playoffs?
career
Like
shooting. It's 67.1, not that high. But I will say, DeAndre Jordan 64.5, Rudy 67.1. So nice little gap there between 2 and 3, at least for this statistic's sake. So
give him another year. Yeah.
All right, so we're close enough to halfway through. I know halfway would be after question number 6, but I'd like to give, almost at the 30-minute mark, I'd like to ask the very famous question on this show that you all were probably prepared for. Grayson, in 3 words, how are you feeling?
Slight improvement today.
Slight improvement. Okay, yeah, that's 3. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Josh, 3 words. How are you feeling after halfway through?
Everyone
Are you
read
Morse code?
Everyone,
I thought you're Morse.
It's 3 words.
Oh, two time. Yeah, no, I get 2 time hyphen. Yeah, hyphen. That's still 1 word, I guess. Okay, whatever.
I'll give it to him.
All right, for the sake of me editing in the score on the screen, Grayson, how many points do you have through question number 5?
I have 2 points.
That's 2 more than the guy had going into the finale last week, so that's good. Josh, how many points do you have? 4. Okay. 4 points to 2 points, so we're good. Anybody's ball game still, we know that. Question number 6. What player in the 2015-16 NBA season was the first player since the ABA-NBA merger to make All-NBA first team but not be named an All-Star that season? What player in the 2015-16 NBA season was the first player since the ABA-NBA merger to make the All-NBA first team but not be named an All-Star? You guys are lucky that I like you because I almost didn't give you the year. And then I realized that you would be literally trying to pull a player since the ABA-NBA merger. So, fair point. Obviously, he is first team All-NBA, so it's not like you're plucking from this 8th man on the bench. I get it, but just to make this more interesting going into the finale, what player in the 2015-16 NBA season was the first player since the ABA-NBA merger to make the All-NBA first team, but not be named an All-Star in that season? I will say, this is probably the most fun I've had researching a Trivia Showdown. Again, I told you I plucked 18 of them in the last 2 weeks, so I wanted to make sure you guys got the brunt of some of these. And again, you've got more points combined than both those guys last week, so through 10.
I remember that year, so I remember the finals that year so vividly, as I'm sure everyone does.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Very famous finals. As somebody, I will get to some of the stuff for that year when we get to the answer choice, because there's a lot of interesting tidbits from that year when you look at Basketball Reference. So I enjoyed that season a lot. All right. I am going to give you here probably about 45 more seconds. You're good. No, 45 more seconds. Trying to fill time. Definitely an interesting season. There's a lot of things we're going to be able to pluck from in there. I'll give you this, just for the sake of talking it out loud. I'll give you the Rookie of the Year that year for no reason whatsoever other than the fact that I'm filling time and I'm trying to figure out what to tell you. Rookie of the Year that year was Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns is the Rookie of the Year. Take that however you'd like to take that. I don't know
And
what
that
else
has
to tell
absolutely
you.
anything to do with.
It does not.
Well, no, I
It
learned
has
something.
literally-
That's good.
Yeah, there you go. You check off the list. We want you to learn something. So hopefully by now you've learned something for some of these questions. I know you guys have gotten them right, but good Lord.
I might have this one.
I need to start. I'm gonna start asking that. Good thought there, Grayson. I'm gonna start asking at the end of every episode what someone learned today. What did we learn today? You know, I learned that blank was this player and this answer. So you never know. So we're almost at the halfway point of the episode. So we're making great time here, and I just gotta get better at filling time. I don't know what to do other than plug SeatGeek every fourth question. So that's fun. It's obviously on the screen for those of you watching on YouTube, and not to be a sellout here, but Apple, Spotify, Google, your podcast folks, 2 pointers, $20 off your first purchase in the SeatGeek app or online. All right, fellas, crossing over the 30-minute mark. Do we have an answer? Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
I
I thought you had a question. With
No,
your
it's
hand
like
up.
I just know I'm going first. I just wanted to know if I was.
Yep, you're good.
Yeah.
Going first there.
Okay. So
All right.
I'll give the thought process here to explain where I got to this answer. Just in
Perfect. I
case
love
like
that.
I'm horribly wrong, I want to sound not stupid, but if I'm right, I'm going to sound really smart.
It's gonna be great either
So I
way.
remember the year because it's the last time the Hornets had a winning record. 2015-16, they finished I think 44-38 that season.
We're gonna fact
'cause
check that.
everything
Go
was
right
down
ahead.
flashy. I also remember going into that summer. This is the part where things went downhill. The cap on the CBA expanded like massively.
It did.
And part of
remember
that
that
is
vividly,
one
yeah.
of the weirdest, like, notable stats in NBA history, which was that Mike Conley became the highest paid player at that time in NBA history. And so I'm guessing in order to hit that bonus, he must have been first team All NBA. And so I'm going to say Mike Conley.
I am
Okay,
Grayson.
that's
It's hard.
better.
It's hard to go over. It's hard to get like to anywhere close to that kind of logic. I mean, that is. All right, we're gonna get to it, Grayson.
So I'm concerned it's right. I just thought to that epic.
Based off his
finals,
reaction, I don't think I was right. But
I put Kyrie Irving. I'm just taking a stab at it. That epic finals.
All right,
Maybe All-Star voters saw the future and didn't vote him, but
Josh, your Hornets did a lot better than you thought. They were 48-34 that year.
oh, yeah, the other way.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
a little bit better. Yeah, a little bit better. The Thunder were 55-27, but neither of those teams were involved in the thought process of this question. The team that did,
Or the
and I'll kind of
finals,
talk
yeah.
through. Yeah, Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors, of course, were in the finals. The team that is on the guy that was on this team, his team went 53-29. So thinking in the right process there of where Mike Conley, I think he would have been playing for the Jazz at the time, right? Memphis. Yeah, so they made the playoffs. They were a top 6 seed, I believe. There. Cleveland Cavaliers, of course, MVP Steph Curry, 30 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Karl Anthony Towns is Rookie of the Year. The one guy though that just stood out to me when I looked at this page, DeAndre Jordan was All NBA first team that year, but was not an All-Star on the Los Angeles Clippers, the Lob City Clippers. So yes, there is your fun fact that we're all going to learn today, that DeAndre Jordan was a first-team All-NBA player in NBA history. Write that down.
started with centers too, but I had Gobert crossed it out and started thinking guards.
I'm going to read the All-NBA first team that year. We're going to read the All-Stars, and let's see who they would have replaced. I want to play this game because I do think it's interesting. All-NBA first team was Steph Curry, LeBron James, DeAndre Jordan, Kawhi Leonard, and Russell Westbrook. Most of those guys aged very well in the grand scheme of what we're talking about. All-Star game in the East was Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, Jimmy Butler, and I guess at the time I shouldn't read you East because they would have done the West. They did the West-East at the time, so let's see who DeAndre Jordan would have replaced in the West. In the West, LaMarcus Aldridge, Kobe Bryant, DeMarcus Cousins, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Chris Paul, Klay Thompson, and Russell Westbrook. Who in the world are we taking out of that lineup?
Draymond Green.
The answer is
Next
none
question.
of them.
No,
Because
it's
at the
not.
time, I guess they would have won 2 championships.
Draymond.
Yeah, we're not taking. I'm not taking anyone. I mean, I guess I would argue Draymond would be the one you could.
That
take
was
out.
the year that he could make shots, though. So that's
Yeah, no, this was obviously they had already won one title at that point. So yeah,
And he got Durant to do it for him. Yeah.
But I remember him like still being like part of the regular 3-point shooting offense at the time.
Yeah.
He was scoring like 9 points a game at that point. Yeah. That was the peak of his powers.
For what it's worth, and a list that also aged interestingly enough, all rookie first team: Devin Booker, Nikola Jokic, Jahlil Okafor, Kristaps Porzingis, and Karl Anthony Towns. What a first team, man! Four of those guys are still very prominent players in the NBA today. So
And I mean, he's just a beast. So
yeah.
Jahlil,
And
sorry.
Pinky died for that.
You'll understand.
You can't all make it, unfortunately. All right, question
You guys
number
remember
7.
that year when the Sixers started out 0-17 and he punched a Philly fan in a bar? Anybody
I
else
do not remember
story?
that. So
Yeah.
thanks for the
That was
trivia
fun.
showdown ammo.
I remember the 0 for start. Yeah.
All right, question number 7. I had a lot of fun with this format. I think we did it only one time this year so far. I think it was last week, but I do like the thought process behind this and just kind of getting to see a scope into NBA history a little bit from a multiple choice format, of course. Question 7. Which of these players averaged the highest points per game in their NBA career? Is it A, Vince Carter, B, Baron Davis, C, Danny Granger, or D, Rip Hamilton? So which of these players averaged the highest points per game in their NBA career? Is it A, Vince Carter, B, Baron Davis, C, Danny Granger, and D, Rip Hamilton? Same thing. Again, don't worry about the letter. Just if you write the right answer, I would appreciate it. So, and unfortunately, that does mean, as I'm starting to fill in time here while you guys are thinking, that does mean that we are all out of multiple choice questions. Unfortunately, we do still have one more kind of fun format to get to. So we won't just be asking for off-the-wall answers the rest of the time, unfortunately. But we do still have one more fun format I'd like to get to eventually. So it's actually a spoiler of the next question. So question 7, multiple choice. Which of these players averaged the highest points per game in their NBA career? Is it Vince Carter, Baron Davis, Danny Granger, or Rip Hamilton? I just realized there are no bonus point opportunities in this episode. And honestly, very glad because I don't think we've needed them so far. You guys are scoring more than I thought, but that's more of a testament to my ability to put these questions together. So,
What did the other guys finish at last week? What was
6 and 8, 6 and 8.
Okay.
So you're pacing well,
Trying to
I
get
will
us
say,
more points then.
maybe the finale might be harder, but every time I've said something like that, I've been inherently wrong. So let's just leave it at that.
Keep that up then.
Yeah. All right. Do we have a locked in answer on it looks like an odd question, Grayson?
Yeah, I do.
Josh?
Yeah, I got an answer.
All right, Grayson, who is the highest career average out of these 4 players?
Hopefully Baron Davis.
Baron Davis. Baron Davis was a bucket. Josh?
I'm hoping that's not an answer. Vince Carter was a trick because he played so many years, but I wrote Danny Granger.
I had that too.
So there's a technicality here.
Between those two.
So technicality is that when I originally formed this question, Danny Granger was right by 0.1 points per game. And I felt like that was too close, so I wanted to find a guy that you'd be like, that's interesting that he would be the most. The correct answer is Rip Hamilton. Rip Hamilton has the most points per game in an NBA career out of these folks. Baron Davis was the one that shocked me. He's the least at 16.1, followed by Vince Carter, 16.7. I knew Josh would smell right through that baloney. Danny Granger, 16.8, and then Rip Hamilton, 17.1. Last week, I think it was Sidney Moncrief and a couple other guys. I think I threw Joe Johnson in there, and I think it ended up being Glenn Rice at like over 18 a game in his career, by the way. Another Hornets legend, Baron Davis, Glenn Rice. Maybe a theme here. I don't know.
I wanted to pick Baron, but I just didn't feel good about that. I didn't think you
Baron was a bucket.
It makes sense that Danny Granger was right before you changed it because my thought was that you would never pick Danny Granger for a question unless he was the answer. Because one, you hate the Pacers.
I don't hate the Pacers.
Too dang weird to have been in there without being an answer.
Just for the fun of looking this up, Baron Davis only had a 13-year NBA career, unfortunately. But he, again, I said he was a bucket. I think definitely was. At one point, his highest points per game season was 22.9. I think it would have been at the time. It says New Orleans Hornets, so 22.9 there for Baron. And then I guess since Danny Granger was the thought process, we'll take a look at what his highest points per game total season was. It would have inflated the statistic. Oh yeah, 25.8 before the injury. So, holy cow, yeah. So then obviously his NBA career started out 7.5 points, as most rookies do. Very, very slow start to their career. And then from his last 5 seasons, 5.4, 8.2, 8.3, 8, and 6.3. So that's kind of where you see the average fall, unfortunately. But Danny Granger, another guy. All 4 of these guys were buckets. So question number 8. One of my favorite formats, if not my favorite format. We're doing Guess That NBA Player by Resume. We're going to do this. We're going to do this a little different this time. Okay, I'm going to give you the resume. I'm going to give you 2 minutes exactly to think about your answer, play around with it, look at it, etc. And then I'm going to lock in. We're going to lock those answers in. We're going to show them. And then I'm going to give you guys the choice for me to read stats and see if you want to change it. And I'll give you 15 or 30 seconds to change it, just to give you some kind of, we'll talk it out loud.
Let's do 30 because I'm going to need it.
Last week, talking out loud with these guys, they realized they would have gotten it out the gate no matter what with the points if they were included in it. So we want to see if that matters today. Guess the NBA player by resume. He's a Hall of Famer, and this is right off Basketball Reference for what it's worth. Hall of Famer, 10-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 2-time NBA champion, All-Rookie team, and he's a member of the NBA 75th Anniversary team.
That could be a lot of
Hall of Famer, 10-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 2-time NBA champ, All-Rookie team, NBA 75th Anniversary team. I will include career length in the statistics part that we mentioned that was going to be happening in 2 minutes, and that 2 minutes starts now. So we're at 40 minutes through the episode with 2 more questions to go in a finale, so we're pacing pretty well.
Can you read those one more time?
Yeah, I'll read them as many times as possible in the next 2 minutes.
Just keep repeating.
Hall of Famer, 10-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 2-time NBA champ. You can also write these down if you like. It's not going to hurt my feelings. All-Rookie team, NBA 75th Anniversary team. This player is a Hall of Famer, 10-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 2-time NBA champ, All-Rookie team, and NBA 75th Anniversary team. I did almost slip up. I write these down in a separate document so that I don't read the answer. I don't have the answer written down at all because I know the answer because I did the research 30 minutes ago. But I almost said the guy's name at the top when I read Hall of Famer, and this I almost said his name still by accident.
Got
to be very careful. If not, I have a backup option. I did. I was between two on this. And the whole point is, obviously, these guys are 75th Anniversary team members. I try to keep, you're not plucking from God knows where. I mean, like, that guy from that year. Also, shout out to Grayson for the Buddy Hield answer for college basketball trivia last time. That was actually really good because he was just good enough to be obscure enough. Like, it was just obscure enough, but he was also good enough. So it was like, right down the middle there. But I'll read these a couple more times.
Between him and like Evan Turner.
Evan Turner's another good one. We actually got to him in the finale talking about the AP National Player of the Year. So I guess that NBA player, Hall of Famer, 10-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA player, 2-time NBA champion, All-Rookie team, and a member of the NBA 75th Anniversary team. And we have 25 seconds before we're going to get an answer locked in, and then we'll decide whether we want to see stats or not. And I'm assuming you both will have unanimous yeses, so I'm going to have it pulled up already.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've written 2 names down, and I'm looking for stats so I can cross one of them out.
Okay, so you're going to lock one of them in. You're going to lock something bad.
Okay, so I want to push back on that. I don't want to name an answer that Grayson could then change it to. I'd rather not do that.
That's how I formatted the question. So, I mean, that's how we're going to do it. I need you to lock in an answer. So, yes. So it's been 2 minutes. I do need an answer. So locked in.
I've got one.
He seems confident. So I don't think it matters. So,
I'm not going to reveal what the answer is. I've got one locked in.
Sign of good things to come. Yeah.
Okay. The whole point is I want to see your thought processes. That's kind of where I want to see. I want to see where you are so that when the stats pop up, will it matter? So, I mean, we can have them look away or whatever.
I'll tell you all that after. I'd be glad to.
No, what we'll do is we'll have one of you look away. I want to see the process. I want to see what it is. So that's the whole point of this. I can understand where you're coming from. So, Grayson, show me your answer. Josh is obviously way out of frame now. Let me hold it up a little closer to the camera. Okay, yeah, all right, I like that. Josh? So now that I get to see what it is and understand, Grayson, look away for me so he can pull up his answer. Class schedule, nice. Josh? Let's see. So you have 2. Hold it up a little closer for me. I see 2 of them. Okay, all right. We're going to read the stats. 1,300 games played in his career, 18-year career. 18.9 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, 3.4 assists, 45, 40, 89 splits. 1,300 games played, an 18-year career. Yep, I'm going to read it a couple times, and I'll give you basically 2 minutes, a minute-ish, 30 seconds, whatever I said last time. 1,300 games, 18.9 points, 4 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 45, 40, 89 splits in an 18-year career. And I'm going to give you 45 seconds. That's a little generous. So we're good. Because you've had almost 5 minutes to look at this question. It's good, though. It's tough in this format. So 1,300 games, 18-year career, 18.9 points, 4 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 45, 40, 89 splits. And I'll read his resume one more time. We'll get a lock-in answer. Hall of Famer, 10-time All-Star, 2-time NBA champion, 2-time All-NBA, well, I almost said the number. All rookie team and NBA 75th anniversary. So, all right. Do we have an answer locked in here in the next 10 seconds? I hear pen writing, so that's good. That's good. I think we're on.
I don't feel good, but
So Josh, are you locked in?
No, I don't either.
Yep. All right.
Yes, I am.
Josh,
Yeah.
whenever you're ready.
I didn't have enough time to think of anyone else. I don't really think this is right, but I'm just going to go with Isaiah Thomas.
Okay. Isaiah Thomas and Josh wrote down Akeem Olajuwon before hearing the stats. Just FYI, just as a transparency for those not watching on YouTube. Grayson?
My random dart throw that's at least maybe closer to my first guess is Kevin Garnett. He probably has more than 2 championships, but that's all I can get in 30 seconds.
Okay.
I think he only ever won one.
Yeah, so we're going to get to that. I will say one of you's close. Close. The reason I wanted to do the stats the way I did it is because I think that the numbers were supposed to be a giveaway. I mean, the guy was within less than 5 field goal percent points and 0.6 free throw percentage points from being 50, 40, 90 for his career. So just going to put that out there as like a within 6 field goal percentage points basically total. Teammate of Kevin Garnett on the 2008 Boston Celtics, Mr. Ray Allen is your correct answer. Jesus Shuttlesworth is a Hall of Famer, 10-time All-Star, 2-time NBA champ, which was supposed to be like a little nugget, like, oh, maybe he won a second one. Where did he win it? 2-time All-NBA, which actually kind of shocked me, but you realize what kind of era he played in. I mean, that's probably not shocking anymore. 96-97 All-Rookie team, and, of course, NBA 75th anniversary team, averaging 18, 4, 3, 45, 40, 89 splits.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The other
I had Bosch pre-stats. Just to throw out there.
Bosch is. I think Bosch is a good shout without really looking it up. But I'll tell you the other one.
At one point.
So I
heard 18-year career. I was like, maybe not.
So the other one that was a 19-year career that I was going to give you. If I told you that there was a 10-time All-Star, a scoring champ, a 6-time All-NBA player, an All-Rookie team player, and a 75th anniversary player that averaged 22 points per game in his career for 19 years, would you have gotten any closer? I'm obviously not telling you much. That's really close. I think it's close. It's close-ish.
My first instinct was Duncan, but I don't like that answer.
22 is a little high. Carmelo Anthony. I was going to include my third favorite player of all time in there. I didn't think the resume was dense enough, though, for Basketball Reference sake. I don't think there was enough to give you there, right? Because 10-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, scoring champ, All-Rookie, that's it. Ray Allen at least had some other accolades like the champ and things like that. Right. So, all right. Sorry I couldn't include Melo in there for the other Melo fans out there, but I guess that NBA player went pretty well. Question number 9. We're going to save the score update for the very end here. 2-time, should be 1-time, NBA MVP Steve Nash.
Oh, my God.
I didn't know where this question was going.
Good Lord.
All right, I'm going to back up and redo that. All right, take number 2. Question number 9. 2-time, should be 1-time, NBA MVP Steve Nash in the 2009-10 NBA season averaged 239 what per game? He averaged 239 blank per game in the 2009-10 NBA season for the Phoenix Suns. What did 2-time, should be 1-time NBA MVP Steve Nash in the 09-10 season averaged 239 of what per game? What did he average 239 of per game? That is the question. So for those that are wondering the 1-time joke in there, you go look it up and you go do your own research. There are 2 very prevalent players in the 2000s that may or may not have played in a purple and gold uniform that may or may not have could have won MVP, probably should have won MVP over Steve Nash. Now, I will say this. He definitely should have won one of them. I'm not discrediting that. The stats don't blow you away, but like some of the stuff that came with it and some of the impact on basketball, I get it, yada, 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 right? Should have won MVP at least once. 2, looking back on it, there's a couple other guys like Shaq that were 1 vote away from being unanimous, and Steph Curry, as we know, of course, broke that record. So there's some NBA MVP hiccups here and there in NBA history, I'm sure. But so, any thought process? I do want to hear this out loud before I give you the answer because I do think it will make it more fun.
I mean, I kind of just went to one thing at the beginning, and I kind of ruled some other thoughts out, and I'm just going with what my first gut instinct was.
Okay. So you got something down pretty.
So the answer is 239 what per game?
Yeah, what did he average 239 of per game in that
I'm just
season?
going with my gut answer.
Yeah, same.
I just want to say this before Grayson. Are you locked in? Let me get you locked in if you're ready.
Yeah, sure.
All right. I want to say this. If either of you get this, I'm retiring from podcasting unless you've seen where this stat came from. Okay? I just want to put that out there into the universe, and I will hold to that. 2-time. I'm laughing before I even read it. So this is going to be great. I need to go ahead and get the article pulled up so I can reference it and actually put it on the screen and in the description so it doesn't seem a fallacy when it comes out. Okay, 2-time MVP Steve Nash in the 2009-10 NBA season. He averaged 239 high fives per game.
All right, that's
quite funny.
I would have rather you ask me about John Collins than that.
I'm guessing Grayson didn't get it. I didn't either.
No.
I just realized neither of you showed your answers. What was your answers? I just realized I messed up the home form.
I said dribbles.
Dribbles is good. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So dribbles.
Yeah.
I was hoping you would go passes, maybe touches, and if you said
That was
touches,
next
it
to
would have
it,
been
yeah.
fun. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna read here from basketballpsychology.com. We're gonna read.
Lord.
There's a nice article. It's pretty short form. There's
I
an
love
NBA.
that someone went and counted.
Oh, it gets better. Not someone. Someone got paid to do it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
What's
get
his
that.
average
So-
as a head coach? I bet it's lower.
Okay, so there's a really short article there, kind of detailing the study and some of the behaviors and the psychology behind it with high-fiving your teammates, yada yada yada. It was a study out of UC Berkeley, but the original idea or premise from this came from let's make sure I got this. Here we go. So 239 touches or high fives per game. Not the amount of times he touched the ball, the number of times he touched his teammates or high-fived them. During this 2009-10 NBA season, the Phoenix Suns had an intern count the number of high-fives Steve Nash gave during an average NBA game that season. Every game, 239 of them was the answer. So,
If he
Did
plays
he
40
lead the
minutes a
league?
night, that's once every 10 seconds. Just about. Let's do the math really quick. Like, that's absurd.
if they're moving the ball 7 seconds, I mean, that
Yeah.
it kind of adds up. It's kind of crazy.
No, I mean,
I'd have
it's
had 10 guesses in one guess.
2-hour game. You count dead time.
Yeah.
You're looking at like around 2 high fives a minute.
I would like to
Maybe
issue a
the
challenge. If someone can find the intern that did this in 2009-10, I would pay them to get him on this podcast, him or her on this podcast. I would love to
That'd
sit
be
down
incredible.
for 15 minutes and talk about that. So glad we got to dive into the high fives of NBA history. So shout out to high fives, by the way. Dusty Baker, Reds, long time, Josh, you're the baseball guy. Both of you guys actually are more baseball guys than me, but Dusty Baker invented the high five. Reds player, coach, etc.
Now
Dusty Baker
Astros
invented it.
manager.
Yeah. So, all right.
Grayson and I aren't smiling.
Question number 9 or 10, excuse me. We're almost done here till we get to the finale. Who's the only player in NBA history to win the Most Improved Player award and MVP award in their career? There's only one
be a
player in
predictive
NBA
guess.
history. There's only one player in NBA history to win the Most Improved Player award and the MVP award in their career. Who is that player? This is what I love about NBA history. You find these nuggets all the time, and you're like, wait a minute. Really? That only happened once? And then you'll realize when we get to it that, it's pretty rare. It's interesting enough. So, interesting enough that I felt like it was the question that I pivoted on, by the way. I had 10 questions written down, and I pivoted to this one literally 5 minutes before you guys joined the call. So, I do think this one's fascinating. So it looks like we're thinking and writing pretty quickly, which is good because we're getting close to the hour mark and we got to get a finale. So this is good. So it looks like we're pretty confident.
I mean, they're all just educated guesses, man.
Especially
I
the
don't
way the
have
show
an
is
exact
formatted.
answer. I have an answer and a reason for that answer.
Oh, jeez. All right. I like
I've
that.
missed
You're going to
5
be,
in a
I
row,
think, the one
so
reading it.
I don't feel confident.
The score update really cursed us. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately. I think that gives me good faith, though, to realize that it did get harder. Like, I thought that it might have a few easy ones or maybe a few like, oh, whatever, other than the Steve Nash question.
I'm still
I
going
do
to piss me
understand.
Conley wasn't right at number 6, but
That logic was like top tier, like S tier logic. Like, just to be able to talk that
How
out.
did he get the biggest contract in NBA history and he didn't make a single one of the All NBA teams that year?
It wasn't probably. It probably
What are
wasn't.
the Memphis Grizzlies
we
doing?
did. I think we're ready. Josh, you're on the even questions here. Grayson, are you ready?
I have a ridiculous.
Or are you still writing?
Yes, at it. But
Okay.
Nah,
Josh.
I'm resigned to.
So in the mid 2010s, there was a player who came over to the NBA, drafted outside the lottery, was kind of a non-factor for a little bit of time. Suddenly, after a few years in, he came into the league. He got pretty ripped and suddenly got a lot better. And since has won 2 MVPs, and so I'm going to go Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Okay, Grayson?
Because if he didn't win a Most Improved Player, he should have.
I
Fair point.
completely blanked. So, I mean, he got robbed this year. But I'll just throw Shea Gilgeous-Alexander out there. I'm not going to get it right. So.
The goal is the right
Come back
answer,
to
and I'll
this.
count that.
An answer
the goal
you
is
know
not
is not right.
Love it.
I want credit in the future.
Josh, no need to bring out your pitchforks because Giannis did win an MVP award and a Most Improved Player award in his career. That is the correct answer.
Makes
Giannis
a lot of sense.
Antetokounmpo. And obviously, looking back on that year, he probably was pretty dead set on winning it. I don't have it in front of me, but I looked at it a few hours ago, and I was like, yeah, okay, it makes sense. All of it lined up to be like, wow, this guy's really good now, as that award should. So, all right, so that was a lot of fun. Josh, let's get
the most improved.
What's up? That's a good question. I'll pull it up. Actually, I have them in front of me. No, yeah, you're good. So the year
14,
was 16-17.
Wow.
Averaged 35 minutes, 22 points per game, which deservingly so at that point. 8.5 or 8.8 rebounds, 5.4 assists, 1.6 steals, 1.9 blocks, 52, 27, 74. What's up?
Was Kidd his
I think so. Yeah, right. It would have been. I don't know. I don't have
So
it in
that
front of me.
probably was the year where Jason Kidd was like, "Screw
Here's
it,
the ball.
11 point guard."
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the ball.
I remember that. I remember
Jason
him
Kidd.
just going, "Screw it, 6'11" point guard."
Yes, six in the East that year, 42-40. Coach Jason Kidd. Yeah, good pull there. All right, so we're gonna get a score update. I'm gonna ask it in the formality of, for the sake of editing and making sure the frames are in there. Josh, what is your score through question number 10?
5.
Okay, Grayson, what is your score through question number 10?
With the editor and the title of the podcast in mind, I still have 2.
Yes. All right. So we just talked about, and I'm going to talk about the finale for a second, like the formality of it, the rules for those that are new here. So you do not lose points for incorrect answers. The format is 60 seconds. And obviously, for the sake of the people that have commented on YouTube multiple times from last year and this year, your pens or some form of writing utensil will be visible in the frame when I begin reading the question. And when I say begin, I'll start a 60-second timer. So with that being said, we're going to get to it. We literally just talked about the Most Improved Player award. How fitting, right?
Oh, God.
Despite being named, hold on, don't groan yet. Okay, I think there's a pun to be had here first. So you don't have to write him. Let me go ahead and give you guys the assumptive. You do not have to write him because it would obviously just be a point, would be 1-1. So no writing Giannis, of course. But we talked in question number 10, of course, that we had the Most Improved Player award go to Giannis and an MVP. Despite being named after Lakers legend George Mikan, who played in the 50s, the award only goes back to 1985. I'm just going to put that out there for those that didn't know that. In 60 seconds, I need you to name me as many Most Improved Player awards as possible, and I'm going to tell you to begin now. Go. I'll give you a little leeway there because I didn't say begin. I was trying to hit the button fast enough while still trying to read it out loud. So do not listen to me. Do not write. Don't worry about wrong answers. You can write as many as humanly possible. And this has happened since the season restarted of Trivia Showdown. You do have to finish the player's name. So if you have 6 written down and you're halfway through 7, you do have. Well, I will not count it because the player's not fully written, unfortunately. And obviously these have been close, so I want to keep those close. But up to you. Abbreviations. Yada, yada, yada. We'll kind of be lenient, but if it's LeBron, you do have to write LeBron James. Let's be real here. Let's write his full name. Let's do the right thing. So you have 20 seconds. 20 seconds remaining. Don't think about me. One more SeatGeek plug, $20 off your first purchase, 2 pointers. It's rolling down on the screen here on YouTube. 10 seconds. $20 off your first purchase. 5 seconds. Gave you an extra second because of my mishap. Pens down. Pens down, pens down, pens down. All right. In roughly a minute, because it was basically 103. You're good. I don't care at this point. I know you're not going to write anything down. So what we're going to do, for the sake of there being only one of me, and it's worked so far, and I only have one hand because I'm holding the microphone, who wrote the most points down? Who wrote, how many did each of you write? We're going to go with the guy that wrote the most, and we'll tally them up, and we'll get the answers.
I wrote 11. I'm not
I wrote
very
12.
confident in any
Wow.
of them.
All right, so we're going to go with Josh.
I think most of mine are wrong. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I'm
We're
telling
good. So
myself
Josh is
a
only
lot.
up. Josh is up by 3
take
right now.
only out
So
of that.
anybody's game.
Yeah.
No, you're good. So Josh, we're going to start with you, and what we'll do is, Grayson, you can mark a couple right if you'd like, but we're still for the seasonality of trying to get these through. I still want to read every single one of them, even if you have them right. So, Josh, one by one, who do you have, and then mark next to it if it's right or wrong, as I tell you yes or no.
Okay.
So
The
Giannis,
first
of
thing
course,
I
is
wrote
not
was
a
Lowry
correct answer.
Markkanen, which I think is wrong.
Lowry Markkanen is correct. He
Did
did
he
win
win
Most
it this
Improved
year?
Player.
Oh,
Yeah, 2022,
he just-
2023. Yep.
Okay.
So Lowry Markkanen's correct. Josh, go ahead. We'll get your score at the end. We'll get your score at the end.
Jordan Clarkson.
That
Oh, that's a good one.
is incorrect. He did not win
Really?
in Most Improved
Wow.
Player. That's incorrect.
Was it
I'm
sixth
bad.
man that he won? Oh,
Probably. Okay, next.
I was hoping that one was right. That's not good. Tyler Hero.
Tyler Hero is incorrect.
Also a sixth man of the year.
It's okay. Probably.
Reggie Miller.
Interesting pull. Going back to 1985-86, Reggie Miller is incorrect. Okay. Also a six-man. No, I'm just
I'm not going to try to explain how the names ended up on my paper. I'm just
No, we're good. That's okay. We don't
Oh,
have
no,
time for
trust
that, so
me.
it's good.
I'll one up you there. Just wait.
Darren Collison.
There's some Darren maybe not. There's some Darren Collison names on here. Don't get me wrong. There are some Darren Collison level guys on here. Darren Collison is not correct.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Please don't be John Collins.
I
After
said
all
I
this.
didn't think so.
It was in my brain. Evan Turner. I think that might have just been a Rookie of the Year award.
Evan Turner. That's a
What a
good pull.
pull.
Unfortunately, it's not correct.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about big
John
bags.
Morant.
John Morant is correct. Yeah,
There we go.
2021-22 before deciding to. Anyway, Josh, next answer, please.
Luka Doncic.
Doncic is not correct. Unfortunately, you would think he might have won one, but he was pretty good out the gate after winning 2 MVPs in the EuroLeague. So hard to go up from there, unfortunately. But go ahead.
Kimba Walker.
I feel like you should know that, and that's not correct,
Oh,
unfortunately.
I know it wasn't, but he should have. So.
Dart throw, I like it. Yeah, all right. Any other
I know
answers?
he didn't, but
We have any more?
James Harden, which from our last question I should have known was wrong. But
Yes. Unfortunately,
Who's you
James Harden
right?
is incorrect. Yeah.
Oh.
James Harden is wrong. Yeah.
Julius
Otherwise,
Randle.
Julius Randle's correct. Julius
Whoa,
Randle won it in
man.
2020 and
That was a
2021.
pull.
We've currently got
Got
the
him all that
last
money.
3 players.
Yeah.
So we've literally got the last 3 players that have won it. So that's fun.
You can say if you want to count this. I wrote KP. Meaning Kristaps Porzingis. I don't know.
well,
I didn't have enough time to
I
write
think that
that.
counts.
We don't need to go to the drawing board because he's not right. So
Okay.
we don't need to go there. So Josh,
That is
don't give me, tally up your
Unique
score.
enough. Yeah.
Tally up your score and don't read it out loud. We're gonna go
My
do it at the
finals
end
run.
in case Grayson just rattles them off. So all right. So how many did you
Right,
get right
yeah.
from Josh's list?
Just in
Okay.
case.
Yeah.
2.
All right. So go ahead
Laurie
and mark those
and
correct.
Morant.
Perfect. All
Got
right.
it.
So
Yep.
keep going down the list.
I wrote Giannis out of spite just so I can make sure I got one right. So we'll skip that. De'Aaron Fox.
That's a really good guess because he's had some a couple of these years up and down. He is not correct, unfortunately.
About Donovan Mitchell.
There's a lot of like these tier of guys that were just so, beating around the
Yeah.
bush. Unfortunately, not correct on Donovan Mitchell though.
Okay. We're going to take a trip down to Oklahoma City. Russell Westbrook.
One MVP.
So you both, one MVP, and you both are throwing darts at walls for your favorite players on your favorite team. So good job there. Unfortunately, not. Unfortunately,
Yeah. Favorite team, not favorite player, Kevin Durant. I know it's not right, but I had it right down.
Okay, unfortunately not. Yep.
On that same
Also an
team,
MVP.
LeBron James. Since you said his name,
There
that's
were a
where
lot of
I'm at.
MVPs on this list, Chris.
A lot of
Yeah.
MVPs. Yeah, unfortunately, there's a common
They
theme here.
improved at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
We've
more?
addressed
Any-
James
any-
Harden, correct?
Yes, we've addressed James Harden. That is incorrect.
Malcolm Brogdon.
Ooh.
That's 6th man of the year
He
this
won
year, I
6th man.
think.
I
Yeah, unfortunately, he's not a most improved player.
This is the worst one on here. Michael Carter Williams.
Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the year.
I'm just thinking awards. I was just like, anybody that's ever won an
I
award
almost
ever.
wrote that too.
Unfortunately, Michael Carter Williams, MCW is
I was
Mark.
thinking of bad Sixers guards. I wrote Turner, and you wrote Carter Williams.
I had options.
Somebody wrote Tony
Markelle
Roten. It would have been
Fultz.
awesome. Yeah, Markelle Fultz, Tony Roten. That's good. Yeah.
The improvement
Anybody
of
else?
The obstacle there. Bradley Beal was my final guess.
I thought he won one for some reason, but he did not. I really did thought he. When I was doing the research, I really thought he won one.
It's my
right.
beater, shortest name I can think of.
Before I read all of them, final score: who's going to get the championship today?
Well, it's Josh. He had more than I did.
Josh.
Yeah.
Josh, what was your total?
I had 2.
Okay.
On the last
Three.
thing, 3. So final score is 8-4.
8-4.
Yes.
Hey.
I had 2, which doubles my score.
Love that. All right, I'm going to read the list because we're going to have some fun with this list as we get closed up. So, 1985 and on, Alvin Robertson, also I think multiple defensive player of the year, right?
And you're right. Yeah.
Spurs guard, yeah, pretty good.
Almost had it.
There's some names on here.
Had
We're
Alvin
going to have
down. Yeah.
yeah, unfortunately. There's
Except you
going to
brought it with and the Chipmunks. Or...
yeah, and the Chipmunks.
Yeah.
Wrong Spurs guard. All right, so there's a common theme here until basically the modern era. Like you're gonna see the theme as we go. Dell Ellis is another. Kevin Duckworth, Kevin Johnson, Ronnie Cycli, Heat legend, I think you could call him. Scott Skiles, who I think has still the most assists in a single game in NBA history. Fun fact for those who didn't know that. Sorry, I just spoiled a trivia showdown question
17?
for myself.
What's that number?
I think it's 19.
Greater than that, probably. 19.
It's 19, yeah.
Purvis
Purvis
2020. Can't be that.
Yeah. I love it. Purvis Ellison, Mahmoud Abdul Raif. I want to make sure I get his name right. Don McLean, not to be confused with the singer of the American Pie song, but apparently Don McLean in the 1990s won Most Improved Player. Dana Barros, George Murison. Shout out George Murison. Isaac Austin. I promise you these are not generated players. These are not auto-generated 2K players. I promise that is not true. Alan Henderson, Daryl Armstrong, and then you start seeing players that we definitely know for sure. Jalen Rose, Tracy McGrady was a big pull there. Jermaine O'Neal, Gilbert Arenas, Zach Randolph, and we're back to guys I've never heard of. Bobby Simmons, Boris Diaw, Monta Ellis, and basically from Boris Diaw on, I pretty much
should have gotten that.
From basically Boris Diaw on in 05-06 for the Suns there, I basically, and they had a couple of awards in there for Coach of the Year and things like that for the 7-second Suns teams, but I basically knew of or thought of some of these and was like, okay, yeah, I could see that or I remember that. So Monta Ellis, Hidu Turkoglu, Magic legend, I think. Danny Granger. Sometimes the jokes write themselves, or sometimes the question, the commonalities write themselves. There's a lot of just repeats of stuff we've talked about on here, which is interesting. Aaron Brooks, Kevin Love, surprised no one got that one. Wow. Ryan Anderson, Paul George, one Most Improved player in there.
Anderson?
Yeah, following Ryan Anderson was Paul George. Yes, back-to-back years, and then you kind of see a theme coming here. Goran Dragic, Jimmy Butler, C.J. McCollum, as we address Giannis Antetokounmpo in 2016-17. Victor Oladipo, Pascal Siakam, Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, John Morant, and Lauri Markkanen.
I got the last 3.
Yeah.
The last 2.
Yeah. Ones I got.
Yep. So, interesting award named after a guy that literally played 40 years before the award was put into inception. So, that's just an interesting tidbit for the NBA, as the awards are stupid named. All right. Congratulations, Josh. Anything you want to plug, talk about, make known of? I know the Charlotte Hornets, I said we're checking back in a few months, but anything you want to
edit this to 3-time trivia champion?
You don't, but next time you're on, it'll say that. So that's
I'm
perfect.
sure I'll be back for the finale with my 8 points. I'm sure that won't be struck down.
Right.
I have no idea if I'm even going to be doing a finale this year. So congrats on 8 points. I don't know what I haven't worked out the scheduling yet, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Grayson, anything to plug on the way out?
Get back into football season with my college roommates. So we'll be putting out some content at the 10:09 finally. A little summer hiatus as things slowed down. Although we just had a boxing match at second base in baseball. So I say that, and even the MLB has some things happen there.
Down goes Anderson.
That's the best radio call ever. That was awesome. And deserved, because he squared up and then got knocked out. So that's what you get.
Love it.
But yeah, I'll be retweeting my personal Twitter, which is below my name, and then it's at the 1009 on Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, which we will be pumping out links for here very shortly. So if you wander over there, I appreciate it. Looking right at 500 followers on Twitter. Should be another week or so. We'll cross that milestone, coming up on 1,000 downloads as well. So a lot of exciting stuff as we enter into the fall and more consistently exciting sports.
Love that. All right. Well, thank you guys both. First of all, 500 followers. Get that taken care of. Everything will be linked below, of course. I'll plug SeatGeek one more time since it is obviously continuously rolling on the bottom of the screen. But all jokes aside, baseball's like we just talked about has some exciting things. You could have seen that game for $20 less than you might have purchased it for and seen a brawl at second base. $20 off your first purchase. Code 2Pointers. Any concert, sporting event, anything you've got going on here the rest of the summer and the rest of this year. So thanks, fellas. Had a great time talking most improved players and Charlotte Hornets and Oklahoma City Thunder losses. So thanks for coming on. This has been the 2Pointers podcast. I'm Trevor Everett. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. Yeah. Oh, that's a throwback. I like that. This has been the 2Pointers podcast. On behalf of these two fellas that are probably not going to be making their last appearance, of course, we will see you soon.